Hey guys, meet the 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonale, and I'm here at the proving grounds of Alfa Romeo just outside of Milan, Italy, to do a complete review of this. So we're of course going to go under the hood, we're going to look inside, we're going to look in the back, and we're going to go for a drive. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what other cars this competes with. But let's get the giant elephant in the room out of the way before we even start this review, and that is the Tonale, named after a mountain pass, just like the Stelvio here in Italy, is not based on the Hornet. In fact, it's the other way around. Now, this is the top of the line model, as you can tell, and it is in classic Alfa Romeo red. Now, there is something very special about this car, and that is right here. Well, let me show you something first. Now, you know that the logo for Alfa Romeo, of course, is a snake eating a little guy, and I think that's a crest of Milan. I may be wrong about that, but let me know if I am. But what makes this car special is right here, and you can see this little snake, but it is now basically a plug with a little lightning bolt, and that's because this is a plug-in hybrid. Yep, the first plug-in hybrid Alfa Romeo, and that's what makes it unique. Now, let's go under the hood and talk about the powertrain, where we always start. And the powertrain in this vehicle is unique. It has a 1.3, where are you? Come on, there it is. 1.3 liter internal combustion engine that is paired to an electric motor. And the electric motor is driven by a 15 kilowatt hour battery. So there's your 1.3 liter that combined with the electric motor that's in the back produces about 285 horsepower, giving it a 0 to 60 time of 5.6 seconds, which is nothing to sneeze at. Of course, this is the only way you can get the Tonale as a hybrid in America. And the next question you'd be wondering about is just how much power, 15 kilowatt hour battery, does this have, and how far can that go on a single charge? And Alfa says about 30 miles of all electric range and about 2.5 hours to fill up the battery on level 2 if you're completely empty. Now, the other thing that's pretty cool are those wheels. I actually love those wheels. Those are 20-inch wheels, kind of phone dial wheels, but those holes are bigger than holes in the past Alfa Romeos, and that's because Alfa is trying to make them lighter and a little bit more, well, dare I say it, stylish. Now, there will be, like I said, 3 models of this car, and this is the top of the line one. So you might be wondering how much does this cost, and so am I. So let's take a look at our little handy dandy cheat sheet here, and that's right there. So this is the Alfa red non-metallic paint. That's a $500 option. It's got the Gregorio 5-hole wheels. That's a $2,000 option. Premium interior and sound package, $2,500 option, as you can tell. And of course, the total is $56,090 with the $2,000 tech package. They started about $42,000 with about $1,600 delivery charge, which, you know, is relatively steep, but they are built here in Italy. Now, the interior is actually a little bit nicer than a Stelvio, if you're used to that, or a Giulia. Pretty soft materials, nice leathers, but it only comes in this kind of dark color. So as long as you like your interior dark, you're gonna love this. But when you start it up, it does have, oh, I forgot, Alfa Romeo puts their starter button on the steering wheel, which is actually kind of cool. It does have that kind of cool startup sequence. Hold on, where is it? There it is. That's the taillights. And then we should also get, let me see if I can get the startup headlights. It went there for a second, hold on. Yes, I see the taillights. Come on, give me the startup sequence. Anyway, it usually shows you, I don't know why it's not doing it. Maybe it'll do it after that. No, we don't want the trip summary. We haven't driven anywhere yet. So how about that? There you go. Now I figured it out. That's your triple headlight with your Alfa Romeo grille. And you also now get Uconnect, which is actually really good because this is both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto enabled along with Alexa. So if you like Alexa, you can also use Alexa. I do love these physical buttons for the HVAC. And like I said, everything in here feels very premium, very expensive. Real metal, I believe. Well, maybe not that. That is warm. But that, I think that may be actually metal, which is nice. Really nice speaker covers. And of course, a volume knob and a regular shift knob. Different drive modes, including e-save, which lets you save the electric battery for places like London, where you probably want to go in and go only all electric. Nice fat steering wheel, and of course, much of the traditional driver safety features, including kind of a lane keep setup right there, level 2 autonomy. And what else is unique about this? Like I said, different drive modes. And if you're wondering, this car competes with cars like the BMW X1, the premium small compact crossovers from Mercedes, from BMW, from Audi. So it lives in that range. And it starts, like I said, about $42,000, and this top of the line model comes in at $56,000. So Alfa Romeo says that they're trying to find a new buyer for this. This may come as no surprise, but most Alfa Romeos in America are bought by men, 80%, and they're hoping that this is going to become more demographically diverse. In other words, more women are going to buy this car, not just men. And more millennials, actually. And I'm not sure at $42,000 how many millennials can afford it, but I guess certainly it's doable. Good headroom. I'm sitting behind myself. This is a compact crossover, so if you're expecting a lot of room in the back seat, you probably won't be surprised that there isn't much, but it's okay. I could live back here for a short ride. And of course, USB and USB-C ports, along with dual vents for 2 passengers, which is always nice. And let's see how much room is in the back for all your stuff. I guess if you're a young family, which this might be a car for here in Europe, in America, as you know, 3-row SUVs are kind of having a moment right now. So bringing in a smaller car like this might be a little bit more difficult, but you have a ski pass-through. And over here, of course, you have a little cubby for your charger. Now, like I said, altogether you've got 285 horsepower, which is significant, and 0 to 60 time. Come on, Roman. There we go, of 5.6 seconds, which is really good. I do like those dual exhausts popping out the back. And this Alfa Red is distinguished from a Ferrari Red, which, as you know, isn't built too far from here, in that it's a little bit more darker, a little bit more richer, Alfa Romeo would say. But both brands, Alfa Romeo and Ferrari, of course, have a long history of building very sporty cars that both compete in places like the Mille Miglia and, of course, now Formula One. And since the Second World War, end of it, this kind of 3 grille design has been a signature for Alfa Romeo. I think if you look at it this way, it looks really mean and really aggressive. All Tonales are going to come as all-wheel drive, so that's good. I also like this little section up here. That's pretty cool. You know what? I'm going to take this for a quick ride here at the Proving Grounds and see how it does. So give me a second. This time we'll start it up. There we go. And it's running. Of course, you can't hear the engine because it's in electric mode. And as you can tell, let me put my seatbelt on. You've got two different important gauges. Right there is where you've got your fuel gauge, and right there is where you have the state of your battery. And according to this car, we've got 30 kilometers of range left. All right, I like traditional shift knob. There is the e-save button, so if we wanted to go all electric, we just push that. Well, let's go e-save, because why not? So I am holding a camera and driving, so I'm going to stay here at the Proving Grounds where it's private property, so I am not breaking any Italian laws. Look at all those 4Cs. A little aside here, if you guys are thinking about buying a collectible car, that would be my choice. Beautiful car, didn't sell a lot, and gosh, that's probably the car to get if you want an investment and a great weekend car. And as you can tell, like I said, this is the Proving Grounds for Alfa Romeo. It's been here since 1963, and Alfa as a brand has been around for 113 years, so certainly a brand with a lot of history behind it, and a lot of great cars. Now, I did have a chance to go to the Alfa Romeo Museum while I was here on my trip in Milan, and that video is up at alltfl.com, so if you want to see some of their Mille Miglia winners and some of their Formula One cars from the past, this would be a good place to do it. So I've got 50 kilometers I can do here, so I'm going to do a little bit of just a quick acceleration, and just see how this feels accelerating. Okay, I'm floored. I think the engine just kicked in, and I quickly exceeded the speed limit. So yeah, that's certainly very quick and very lively. Now, as you know, Alfa Romeo is owned by Stellantis, which used to be Fiat, but now is owned by Peugeot. And I can't help but notice, if you look over here, they actually have an off-road course as part of their, and there goes the new Jeep Avenger, which is an all-electric front-wheel drive Jeep that's sold here in Europe. But they do have an off-road course set up here at the Proving Grounds. Another Avenger, look at that. I actually like that thing. Do you guys think that an electric front-wheel drive Jeep would sell? Another one. Let me show it to you this time so you can see it a little bit better. Because we don't currently sell this in America. But do you guys think that a front-wheel drive electric Jeep would sell well in America? I think it would. The Avenger is actually doing really well here in Europe. Of course, the problem with Avenger is the name might harken back to another car that some of you will remember and not fondly. But like I was saying, going back to the off-road course here, where do you go off-roading in Italy? I suspect if you have a Wrangler, the only place you can go off-roading here in Italy is here at the Proving Grounds, because I don't know if there's any other off-roading in Italy. But if you live here, let me know in the comments below. But I'm sure they didn't have this in '63 when they built this place. It was probably built here for when Jeep became part of the Stellantis family. So let's take a quick little zip around this. That's good. Very firm suspension. I'm kind of seeing how this handles. And actually, it's not bad. I'll let the van go back. He's wondering why I'm zipping around a roundabout like that. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, from this short little drive that we're doing here in this video, I can immediately tell you that this car has, and there's a Wrangler. How cool is that? See a Wrangler in Italy. That's probably why they have that off-road course set up. This car is certainly very firm, certainly very sporty, and of course, like I said, this is a top of the line. And the other thing I noticed immediately is this turning circle with the 20-inch wheels is not grand. So there are some things that I don't love about this car. Let's talk about those, and then I'll tell you about the things I do love. The interior comes, like I said, in any color as long as you love black, because let me zoom out a little bit. There you go, because that's the only interior that you can get is black. And I would love a splash of red in here. It comes in this really cool green as well. I would love a splash of that color. But yeah, just kind of dark and very somber in here. I do really love the way that it steers, the way that it brakes. I mean, you can tell that this car has been tuned here at the racetrack, well, at their Proving Ground racetrack, and it'll do really well here on Italian roads. But the suspension is a little firm, especially when you change to, I think this is the dynamic mode right there, DNA mode. And I also like the styling of it. The front especially certainly screams Alfa Romeo. It's very aggressive and it's very masculine. And I think they're trying to get more women buyers into the brand, but I think making a car masculine is not a bad thing. It's when you make it more feminine, I think sometimes that turns both guys and gals off. But I'll let you guys decide that on your own. I do like this lever. It makes it relatively easy to put in gear. No rotary dials or strange buttons to push. And in general, I have plenty of headroom. Let me show you. So tons of headroom in the front seat. Very comfortable seats for my big American butt. This new Uconnect based infotainment system is great. And I do love the fact that you've got real buttons for HVAC. So it's not a hard car to learn how to drive. There's not a lot that you need to know when you get into this thing and kind of start it up for the first time. Also love the big paddle shifters. I don't usually use big paddle shifters They're right there. But in this car, because it's so sporty, I would certainly love and try to use them. Now, that may be a downside to some of you because obviously room and space are more important to a lot of people than paddle shifters. In terms of availability, let's look at those 4Cs again. They're such beautiful cars. I know I'm like a moth to a flame. Those Fiat 500 Abarths, and then of course those 4Cs, just gorgeous cars. Just really a lot of style. Maybe a lot of style over substance might be another critique that I would have, because right now people are looking for large cars, and this is a very small car. Like I said, a BMW X1, X2 competitor, and I'm not sure that they're not going to be selling them to a headwind when it comes to actually trying to sell a small car. Here in Italy, the car doesn't feel that large, but it really is. Now, there is no Quattrofolio version of this, which is, of course, like the M or AMG version that Alfa Romeo does, and Quattrofolio, of course, means four-leaf clover, which has been used by the company since the early 1900s. So that has always been kind of their performance brand, but there is no Quattrofolio version of this. And keep in mind, all other Alfa Romeos coming after this are actually going to be electrified or electric. So if you want a plug-in hybrid Alfa Romeo, this is the one to get, and this color is absolutely beautiful. Now, in general, Alfa Romeo has always been kind of that aspirational brand, you know, the forbidden fruit of the automotive world, because for a long time they weren't around in America. But now that they're here, they have, this is the other elephant in the room, a reputation of not the greatest reliability, both for the Giulia and maybe for the Stelvio. But in our product briefing, we were told that recently Alfa Romeo has really been working on bringing up the quality. These are built here in Italy, and that they've moved up something like 20 spaces in the J.D. Powers satisfaction and quality surveys, so doing much better. And hopefully this car will continue that trend. Well, like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like it? Is it too expensive? Is 42 starting, going up to about 57 too much for what is, you know, essentially a small crossover? Or are you willing to pay for that Italian styling and unique, look? Because Alfa Romeo does certainly bring a long line of race cars and chassis tuning and certainly race-winning heritage. So when you're driving this, you do feel special. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Remember, check out TFL.com if you want to check out our written reviews, or better yet, go to alltfl.com for more news, views, and of course, Alfa Romeo reviews from Italy. See you guys next time. Ciao.